PNB Rock at Roscoe's Chicken and Waffles. You know, when it come down to that situation and everything like that, what are your thoughts on what happened to PNB?
I mean, it could happen to everybody. Just to be honest with you, I spoke on that. It's about greed. You mean greed, envy, same thing I did. I mean, I did that. I was on the other side of, I grew up and I lived on the other side of what PNB Rock was. And we, in our lost mentality, we didn't see that like I see it now as an adult.
Ooh, hip hop is in straight up flames right now. And guess who's standing smack in the middle of the inferno? Big U. That's right, the same man once considered a community leader is now making headlines for all the wrong reasons. And baby, this ain't your average celebrity scandal. This is a full-blown criminal search. We're talking shocking allegations of extortion involving big names like PNB Rock and Nipsey Hussle, explosive RICO charges, and wiretaps that sound like they came straight out of a mob movie. Fans are stunned, scrambling to piece together the puzzle as damning FBI invoices start pouring out, exposing a trail of coerced donations, shady check-ins, and a non-profit that may have just been a front for organized crime.
Felt it was like super messed up because at the end of the day, it was me and Big Useless in it when it happened. So when it happened, I wish I could have just told him like, bro, just give up the jury and we'll get it back to you later. But it just happened so fast and he wasn't cooperating.
Yes, you heard that right. Big U was allegedly using his so-called charitable organization to threaten artists like Nipsey and PNB Rock. And guess what? Those threats may have led to their deaths. Fans are still reeling from the claim that Big U had Nipsey killed just to exploit his legacy. According to insiders, that's why Nipsey's brother, Black Sam, pulled the plug on everything. He saw the writing on the wall and wasn't about to let anyone profit off Nip's name. And then there's Quando Rondo. Rumors are flying that he's about to testify in court. Can you imagine? The streets are buzzing. Did Big U really extort Nipsey and PNB? And what did Rondo see that made him flip? Turns out, Big U's been struggling behind the scenes. He got caught red-handed on multiple FBI wiretaps, publicly admitting to cold-blooded threats and confessions that'll make your stomach drop. And yes, those tapes are out now. In one shocking 2023 call, Big U flat out said, "If anybody messes with me, they're ending up 6 feet under." No sugarcoating, no hesitation. Another wiretap, dated December 31, 2022, recorded Big U saying that if he ever had real beef with someone, that person wouldn't be around anymore. Or he wouldn't, because in his own words, it ain't no kid nothing. That right there, that's not just talk. That's a glimpse into a man who lived by the code of intimidation and blood, and if that gave you chills, just wait, because the real bombshell lies in the indictment, a sweeping RICO case that's exposing everything. Big U's so-called nonprofit developing options, turns out it was allegedly a front for a full-fledged criminal empire with its tentacles deep in extortion, murder, and even human trafficking. But for now, let's zero in on the extortion piece, because that's where the dirt gets extra grimy. Court documents reveal that Big U's whole operation revolved around one sick formula: shake down local businesses, legal or not, and threaten them into coughing up cash. One victim, known as Victim 1, was a promoter working with club gigs and some gray market cannabis dispensaries. FBI surveillance captured Big U and his crew threatening this man with violence if he didn't pay up. And guess what? When he stopped paying, Big U had him robbed, straight up, took his stuff to send a message. But here's the twist. Victim 1 was actually working with the feds. Boom. They had wiretaps, they had tapes, they even caught Big U taking the extortion money. It was game over. Then comes Victim 2. According to court filings, Big U and his boys extorted another man at Deja Vu, a well-known adult entertainment club in LA, back in December 2021. The man thought he was just throwing a birthday party for Big U. He even agreed to give Big U 33% of the bar sales and was promised celebrity guests. But when the night ended, Big U demanded everything, and he wasn't asking nicely. He threatened serious violence if he didn't get the full cut. And here's where fans started connecting the dots. People believe Big U pulled the same move on Nipsey and PNB Rock. You'd think his ties with Nipsey, his own label signee, would mean respect, but no. According to court files, Big U and Nipsey had a nasty falling out back in 2008 over some equipment at Big U's shop. Things got so bad, Nipsey dissed him in a track. And how did Big U respond? He said he wasn't a rapper, he was a scrapper. After they supposedly made up, Big U still showed up one morning planning to discipline Nipsey over that diss track. But Nip's brother stepped in and said not today. LAPD was called, shots were fired, and it's safe to say this wasn't a brotherly spat, it was war. And get this, there's talk that Big U's extortion and manipulation pushed Nipsey to the edge. That charity front, Big U was allegedly using it to bleed Nipsey dry. Big U was allegedly using it to bleed Nipsey dry.
For the last 5 years, He has donated every year to the organization. He, I think he gave us $25,000 last year for the football organization. In the terms of, we bought football jerseys, uniforms. He paid for our field. He's performed 2 times for us a year for the football program. He, by far, he's done far more for the Crenshaw community.
He did it over and over again, milking Nipsey's generosity to fund Crenshaw Rams events and posing it as community work. One Instagram post even showed Big U thanking Nip for making the last 2 weekends happen for the team. But fans weren't fooled. They saw what was happening. Big U was squeezing Nip's pockets, not out of love, but for control. Eventually, Nipsey got tired of being used. And what did Big U do? He publicly called him out, accusing Nip of turning his back on the community, when in reality, he just didn't want to be manipulated anymore.
You made it don't mean you made it. You know what I mean? Keep it 100. I'm gonna give you this message, real talk. I watched it lose $1 billion. I love my brother Suge Knight. I watched him travel the country. I love all the artists that have been rich and travel the country. I watched this come and go in this business. I watched get bags, hit houses, get $1 million and be broke. I watched motherfuckers make 15, 16 million and be broke.
Then Nipsey was gone, and fans couldn't shake the feeling that Big U had something to do with it. They remembered how he laughed on camera just hours after Nip was killed. They remembered how Big U hinted that Nip wasn't checking in anymore, that he had gotten too big, and the streets started whispering. Because justice wasn't just about locking up Eric Holder, it was about asking the hard question, who set that chain of events in motion? And those same whispers, they followed Big U when PNB Rock was killed too. In September 2022, PNB was gunned down at a Los Angeles restaurant right in front of his girlfriend. The official story was a robbery gone wrong, but now the streets are telling a different story. According to police, a father and son duo were behind the shooting. Freddie Trone and his teenage son. The boy allegedly pulled the trigger, and with that, the case seemed closed until Big U spoke out. He gave an interview and basically blamed PNB for his own death. Said that if PNB had checked in, he'd still be alive.
PNB Rock at Roscoe's Chicken and Waffles. You know, when it come down to that situation and everything like that, what are your thoughts on what happened to PNB?
I mean, it could happen to everybody. Just to be honest with you, I spoke on that. It's about greed. You mean greed, envy, same thing I did. I mean, I did that. I was on the other side of, I grew up and I lived on the other side of what PNB Rock was. And we, in our lost mentality, we didn't see that like I see it now as an adult. We in LA. When I go to Chicago, I respect Chicago wholeheartedly. I check in. When I go to Atlanta, I check in. When I go places, I check in. And I don't think nobody is safe.
That's when people started side-eyeing the whole check-in system Big U was running. Turns out his so-called nonprofit was also a control network, forcing rappers, athletes, and anyone with influence to check in before conducting business in LA. This check-in wasn't just a friendly courtesy, it involved payments and permission. If you didn't check in, that was a declaration of war. Big U even hosted a podcast titled Checking In, where the opening theme boasted lines like, when your feet hit the street, check in, because if not, it's hot. And when Loose Cannon, one of Big U's associates, claimed that he and Big U were actually inside the restaurant when PNB was shot, yeah, the conspiracy went into overdrive.
Rock got killed in the
Roscoe's.
Yeah,
Yeah, so I felt it was like super messed up, because at the end of the day, it was me and Big Useless in there when it happened. So when it happened, I wish I could have just told him, like, bro, just give up the jury and we get it back to you later, but it just happened so fast.
Big U kept pushing the narrative. All PNB had to do was check in, but fans weren't buying it anymore. They were connecting the dots. They remembered Tied to Death Row, calling Big U out for years of an extortion. She spilled tea on Instagram saying Big U used to beat up Corrupt like a runaway slave, even dragging him out of his trailer on a music video shoot and humiliating him in front of Snoop and Diaspora. She said Big U laughed about it. And yet, Corrupt still called him Big Brother. And just when you thought it couldn't get any crazier, Quando Rondo's name entered the chat. Quando Rondo has been tangled in gang drama for years, but now he might be looking for a way out. And what better opportunity than testifying against Big U, the man whose shadow has loomed over the streets of LA for decades? Let's be real. Quando's been in hot water lately, legal issues piling up, gang ties haunting him like a ghost, and fans wondering if he's next in line for a tragic headline. So when the whispers began saying that Rondo might be taking the stand, it made perfect sense. People close to the case say Quando has vital inside knowledge of Big U's operations. He's allegedly seen firsthand how artists were pressured, intimidated, and kept in line. If he testifies, that could could be the final nail in Big U's coffin. Because let's not forget, Big U wasn't just checking in celebrities. He was reportedly extorting and humiliating them behind the scenes. And the FBI's got tapes, y'all. Recordings, incriminating statements, people flipping left and right. Even SKG wasn't the only one talking. Artists and insiders started coming out of the woodwork, each story darker than the last. Tales of forced payments, bruised egos, bruised bodies. Fans began to realize this wasn't just one man gone rogue. This was a network run like a mafia, right under our noses. And in the heart of it all, Big U. His empire was built on fear, on rappers feeling like they had no choice but to play along, either pay up or pay the price. The saddest part? PNB Rock, Nipsey Hussle. These weren't just names. They were sons, brothers, legends in the making. And if the allegations are true, they were targeted because they dared to say no. People close to PNB said he didn't believe in the check-in system, that he wanted to move differently, stay clean, avoid the street politics, but that defiance may have cost him his life. Big U's cryptic comments after the murder only fueled the fire. The implication was clear. Had he checked in, he'd still be breathing. Fans were outraged, disgusted. And when that interview resurfaced, Big U smirking, basically saying, "I told you so," the internet lost it. Same with Nipsey. His death always felt off, too calculated, too tragic. Now with all these receipts coming to light, the theory that Big U was pulling strings behind the scenes doesn't seem so far-fetched anymore. Let's rewind one last time to that infamous nonprofit Developing Options. It was supposed to be about helping kids, youth programs, mentorships, keeping young black men off the streets. That's what Big U claimed. But behind the scenes, the feds say he was laundering money, exploiting artists, and turning charitable donations into extortion payouts. People like Nipsey, they believed in the cause. They gave money freely, hoping to make a difference. And Big U, he turned around and weaponized their kindness. He even posted about it, thanking Nipsey for funding youth football events, for making it happen for the Crenshaw Rams. But now fans are rereading those captions with fresh eyes. They don't see gratitude. They see manipulation. It's heartbreaking. Because Nipsey loved his people. He was trying to build, not be used. But Big U kept leeching off him, then shamed him publicly when Nip finally stood his ground. And now, Big U's sitting in a courtroom, staring down a life sentence. The same man who claimed to run the streets, who built his image on power, fear, and influence, who smiled on podcasts while bodies dropped behind the scenes. The fall from grace is historic. And if Quando Rondo really testifies, it's game over. People are saying he's already cut a deal, trading testimony for lighter charges. And honestly, you can't blame him. When the walls are closing in and the whole empire's crumbling, you either speak or sink. So where does this leave us? With Big U sentenced for life, it sends a clear message. The days of unchecked street kings are numbered. The era of fear-based celebrity extortion is being dragged into the light. And no matter how powerful you are, if you're dirty, the truth will find you. Fans are still debating. Was this karma? Was this justice finally catching up? And more importantly, how many others are still out there, operating just like Big U? The indictment dropped like a thunderclap, but it's only the beginning. Because if Nipsey and PNB were victims of a deeper, darker machine, how many more stories are still buried? How many artists are out there suffering in silence? We've seen the footage. We've read the court docs, we've heard the tapes. Now it's time to ask the uncomfortable question. Who else needs to be held accountable? Because justice for Nipsey, justice for PNB Rock isn't just about putting Big U behind bars. It's about tearing down every system that let this happen in the first place. And with voices like SKG and Quando Rondo finally stepping forward, the hip-hop world may never be the same. Let us know your thoughts below. Do you think Quando will really take the stand? Was PNB targeted for defying the check-in system? And how deep does this extortion ring really go? Don't forget to watch the next video. We're breaking down the full FBI tape leaks minute by minute. This isn't just a scandal, this is history unfolding. And the truth, it's messier than anyone expected.